Hello again, and I hope you are doing well. So, you know my name, Francisca Anene, and I'm the one taking you legal drafting and conveyancing. This is another subject on the course. And of course, I know that as you take part one topic after the other, you're getting better, you are becoming excellent drafters, you are mastering the art of legal writing, and you are becoming more skillful. So let's see what today's topic has for us to learn, and let's make progress. Progress is going to be on both ends. You will need to listen, take notes, pay attention, answer the questions, take part in all the activities, and I will also do the teaching and I will answer whatever questions you have during our online class. So let's not waste time. Let's just go. Okay. So this is our 8th lesson, and we'll be looking at the topic customary modes of transfer of property. At the end of the lesson, you should be able to define customary conveyancing and relevant terms like pawn, pledge, partitioning, and so on. You should also be able to discuss the modes of conveyancing under customary law. So what do we mean by customary conveyancing? Customary conveyancing is the process of transfer of interest in land under native law and custom. It can be transfer of ownership and it can be transfer of possession. Now you have to note that because of the advent of English rule in Nigeria and subsequently our adoption of English law, you now have duality of tenure where conveyancing is concerned. So really what that speaks about is the conversion of land tenure for land that was subject to customary law to English law, and it can be done by two ways. It can be done through conveyancing in ways unknown to customary law. So for instance, by deed or by will and so on. These are not ways that are known to customary law. Though we have our own customs have their own ways, they are not normally in writing and all of that. But you must note that the fact that a document of transfer is in writing does not mean that there is a conversion. What is most paramount, what you must look for, is the intention of the parties, because perhaps the parties still want their transaction to be governed by customary law, but they want to reduce it into statute. And then the second way is by direct imposition by statute. So for instance, under the Land Use Act, the governor of a state has the right to acquire community property of any kind, and it could be community land for public purpose. That will be a direct imposition of statute. There are many ways in which land may be transferred, or interest may be passed on under customary law. Examples are by sale, by gift, by pawn, by pledge, by tenancy, by partitioning, and allocation. We will look at them. So a gift first. A gift is an out and out transfer of property from a grantor to a grantee. Out and out, meaning it is revocable. But note that under customary law, sometimes a gift it is irrevocable. Out and out means that it's irrevocable. However, note that under customary law, some gifts can be revoked. So though they would endure in perpetuity, which is why they are a gift, right? They may be revoked for misbehavior. And an example will be interest under customary tenancy. And note also that a gift of land to strangers, right, usually does not extend to the right to reap economic trees on the land. So a stranger may be the owner of land that is subject of a gift, but he won't be the owner of the economic trees on it. So that's an exception to the quick rule, as we know. And then a sale is another way. A sale is an absolute transfer of ownership in land for consideration. Consideration can be cash, it can also be some other form of consideration. Okay, it wasn't known under customary law in the past because of the notion of community ownership of land or family ownership of land and holding land in trust for generations yet unborn. However, in the case of Lee and Payne, the court actually, established that, well, it is accepted in modern day for customary land to be sold, or land to be sold under customary law. However, there may also be restrictions on the right to reap from economic trees on the land. Now to your first activity. I'd like you to discuss the ways in which duality of tenure may occur. Moving on to other ways in which customary land can be transferred or alienated under customary law by pawn. Now, a pawn usually is made. A pawn relationship exists between two parties, a pawnor and a pawnee, right? A pawn is the grant of possession and use of land belonging to a pawnor to a pawnee, right? And the pawnee is allowed to use the land and exploit the land, and any income for economic purpose. So whatever income the pawnee makes from this use and exploitation, it is counted as settlement for the loan from the pawnee to the pawnee. So really, a pawn is grant of possession of land, in satisfaction of a loan. However, it is expected that when the debt is discharged, when the debt has been paid off from all the income that the pawnee got from its exploitation of the pawnee's land, then possession will go back to the pawnee. So a pawn does not grant ownership rights, it only grants possessory rights. That's why it is said, once a pawn, always a. So a pawn is a pledge, right? A pledge is the grant of land by a pledgor, someone who is borrowing, you know, as security for loan obtained from the pledgee, the person, the lender. Now, the difference between a pawn and a pledge is that, first of all, where for a pawn, the pawnee can continue carrying out economic acts, and income will be going back for the purpose of liquidating the debt. For a pledge, what kicks off the end of the pledge is repayment of the loan. So it doesn't matter whether the pledgee had been using the land for economic purposes. Whatever income he makes from it is not deemed to be payment of the loan. So the pledgor must always pay back the security and pay back the loan. And a pawn, of course, just like we say of pawn, once a pledge, always a pledge. So a pledge is always redeemable. And what the pledgor needs to do to redeem the pledge is to pay back the value of the loan. Doesn't have to pay interest or any such thing. On that point, you can look at the case of Okoiko and Eseda. And then to customary tenancy is a grant of possessory rights in land from an overlord to a tenant. Again, not ownership, but possession. While it may exist in perpetuity, it is subject to good behavior. So if the tenant misbehaves, the overlord will have the right to foreclose, and the customary tenancy will come to an end. But there are also customary tenancies that will be for a definite period or for a definite purpose. So when that purpose is accomplished, customary tenancy will come to an end. Okay. Moving on to partitioning. Partitioning really is just physical delineation of land to bring an end to joint ownership and then create a situation of individual ownership. So after land is partitioned, each person becomes the absolute owner of the portion that was partitioned and given to him. You need to note that partitioning is not automatic, right? It's not automatic. It's usually done in the best interest of the family. And who determines what is the best interest of the family? The family members themselves can determine, or in the event of a dispute, a court can be asked to determine. And if the court determines that it's in the best interest of the family, they will make an order for partitioning. Then to allocation, which is the last mode of conveyancing that we'll be looking at. Allocation is the grant of family land or community land to individual members of the family or community upon qualification for such grant, right? And or a particular purpose. Please note that allocation is a right that every member of the family has. In some, and we pointed out upon qualification here, because in some customs, a member has to have attained a particular status before he can be allocated land. So some will say when male children of the family or the community have now done their age group rights and all of that, to switch from being boys to men, then at that point land is allocated to them. However, it doesn't change the fact that it is a right that every member of the family has. And of course, the interest it grants is ownership, not possession, and so it endures in perpetuity. However, it is, and importantly, it doesn't matter whether the member misbehaves or not. So it's not like a customary tenancy or some other tenancy where misbehavior is a condition. And alienation may be limited where the family or the community don't want their land to pass to the hands of strangers or non-members. Okay, so those forms of the modes of conveyancing under customary law that we are looking at in this class. So to your second activity, I'd like you to compare and contrast between a pawn and a pledge. To the end of this lesson and what you have learned. Well, some of the things you have learned are the meaning of customary tenancy and the modes of conveying interest in land under customary law and how these modes operate. This being our last class, I wish you well, and of course you can download and watch again and again. And if you have any questions, you can ask, right? The discussion group is still open, so you can always put your question on the discussion, and see how we can deal with it. So I wish you all the best, and well, just to say take care, and I hope that you have learned something in this course, and this course has been enriching to you both personally and professionally.